All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Pittsburgh Law Enforcement Center for a couple of candidate forums this evening. First time we've ever followed this format where we're actually combining two different candidate forums into one night. We are very aware that there is a significant sporting event that begins at 7:07 tonight, and we're going to be very aware of everyone's time and try to be expeditious with our event tonight and make sure that you get to catch as much of the game as possible. My name is Blake Benson. I will be serving as the moderator for tonight's event alongside Andrew Nash, who will serve as our proctor, or a better term might be question filter. One of our, I would say our top goal is always to make sure that tonight's forum and tonight's questions are fair and that the questions asked are applicable to all candidates. So that will be Andrew's task, and thank you for your role here tonight, Andrew. I would be remiss if I didn't thank the City of Pittsburgh for allowing us to use the courtroom in the Pittsburgh Law Enforcement Center. This is a great venue, and very much appreciate the City of Pittsburgh's hospitality. We will, in a few minutes, we will call up the candidates for Crawford County Commission, Districts 1 and 3. We'll take about a 5-minute break after our first forum tonight to allow those candidates to come up here. But we will begin tonight with the race for Kansas House of Representatives, District 3, and the candidates for that seat are Julie McGinney, who is with us here tonight, and Chuck Smith, who sends his regrets and will not be joining us tonight, but I do want to make clear that both candidates were invited to attend tonight's event. To go over the ground rules and the format for tonight's event, Ms. McGinney, you'll be allowed a 2-minute opening statement. Then we'll ask a series of questions. We have a couple of questions that were prepared in advance by myself, but then we would ask for those in attendance tonight, if they would like to ask a question. We have notepads toward the back of the room by the refreshments. We would ask that you write that question down, submit it to Mr. Nash here. Again, our criteria, and we're very strict with this, is that all questions are on the level and that they are applicable to all the candidates involved. So we encourage questions from the audience. Ms. McGinney, you'll have 90 seconds with any of our questions for an answer. So that's the way we will go tonight. And then you will be provided a 2-minute closing statement as well. For both Ms. McGinney and the candidates for Crawford County Commission, just to kind of keep you straight on where you are time-wise, when you get to 30 seconds left, I'll hold up a yellow card. That doesn't mean to stop. It's not to throw you off, but it is to let you know that you have 30 seconds left. And then when you see the red card, red means stop. That means you've gone beyond your time, and it's time to stop. So that's just a little bit of a help for the candidates here this evening. Ms. McGinney, any questions on the format?
Do you prefer that I stand or sit?
I think sitting is fine.
Okay.
I think sitting is fine. Okay. With that, we will begin with tonight's first prepared question, and again, you have 90 seconds to answer, Ms. McGinney. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. I'm already off script. Thank you, Andrew. 2-minute opening statement, Ms. McGinney.
Thank you, and I want to thank the local Chamber of Commerce and the City of Pittsburgh for hosting this event. I think it is extremely important for the constituents of the 3rd District to know where their possible elected officials stand on certain issues. And so I'm happy to be here tonight and hopefully answer any questions that you have in the audience. I'm a native Kansan. I've lived in Pittsburgh 42 probably of my 50 years. I'm married and I have 3 children. I've spent a lot of time in this community volunteering. 14 years as the West Side PTO president, 14 years on Elmaker's board of directors, a number of other organizations, the ATC, which is now defunct, but I spent a good deal of time in this community giving back. And I like to think that my job as a state representative is also to give back to the community. It's a way of paying it forward, of thanking the people who helped me become who I am today. I came from a single-parent household, and I think it's important to recognize the fact that a number of people in this community helped me become who I am, and I would like to help them now in any way that I can. And I've served 8 years in the legislature, including 2 years as the minority whip, which is a leadership role, which means we get to help decide the direction occasionally. Obviously, we're in the minority party, so we don't get to drive the car, but occasionally we get a finger or two on the steering wheel, and we can help direct ourselves down a better path.
Thank you. All right, tonight's first prepared question. What role do you feel state government plays in fostering job growth and economic development? I'll read it again. What role do you feel state government plays in fostering job growth and economic development? Ms. Mangini, 90 seconds.
Well, I think state government can play a lot of roles, and some of it deals with tax policies, some of it deals with other policies, like one of the committees I sit on is energy and environment, and we've been able to attract certain businesses to our state because of our renewable portfolio standard. Not because some of them are wind turbine manufacturers that we've brought to the state, but some of them are just businesses like Mars Candy in Topeka who chose the state of Kansas because they liked the progressive policy we had in place for the RPS. And they have what they call a business conscience, and they want to choose an area where people are looking forward. And so they chose the state of Kansas not because of our tax policy, but because of our renewable portfolio standard. And so I think there are many ways, be it in the policy arena or in the tax arena or in funding certain economic development activities. Obviously, transportation is huge when it comes to creating jobs and creating economic development, especially for areas like Southeast Kansas. So I think state government has a multifaceted role in growing the state economy.
All right, prepared question number 2, and this is a long one. The completion of the Highway 69 project has long been one of this area's top priorities. Construction on the next section of Highway 69 from Fort Scott to north of Arma is scheduled to begin in 2017. However, this is dependent on transportation funding remaining intact, and past legislatures have shown a tendency to defer transportation funds to help fill holes in other parts of the state's budget. If elected or re-elected, what assurance can you give the residents of District 3 that you will protect highway transportation funding? 90 seconds.
Wow. Well, this one's a lot easier for me to answer. I've served 8 years on the Transportation Committee. I served on the Long Range Policy Committee for the new transportation bill, T-Works, before it was put into place. And I was one of about 7 or 8 people in the room who designed the current T-Works bill. In addition, I was instrumental in getting the funding passed for it, because you can pass a bill for a transportation plan, but if you don't fund it, it won't happen. And so I was instrumental in leading that charge in the House. I got the coalition together that was going to pass that plan. We did that, and because of that, it is very near and dear to my heart, and I have spent many, 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 many hours down at the well defending that plan and trying to keep people from taking the money from transportation. Oftentimes, you will find that if the majority party wishes to take the money from transportation, the chairman of the committee might decide to remain in his seat, and then it's up to the rest of us to do that protection of the funds. And I have risen to the challenge every time, and I will continue to rise to that challenge.
Thank you. All right, our first question submitted by audience members. We have a couple that have passed the filter. First question is this, and again, 90 seconds. What is your position on the recent Kansas healthcare compact to try to privatize Medicare? What is your position on the recent Kansas healthcare compact to try to privatize Medicare? Ms. Mangini.
I did not support that legislation. I have serious concerns when we are taking Medicare dollars that you have paid into the account for and handing it over to state government. Especially in light of our current budget issues in the state of Kansas, I think it's dangerous, I think it's reckless, and I did not want to see 448,000 senior citizens in Kansas possibly be at risk.
All right, our second question from the audience. Talk to us about your experience and what sets you apart from your opponent. Talk to us about your experience and tell us what sets you apart from your opponent.
Okay, well, I've served 8 years in the Kansas legislature, 6 years. I lost an election in 2010. I sat out for 2 years. I couldn't stand on the sidelines and pretend like I didn't know what was happening. So I ran again in 2012. I was reelected. So during this time, I've watched our state, in my opinion, go in a downward spiral. We got a looming budget crisis. We're facing about $263 million budget shortfall next year, and that concerns me greatly. I've spent 8 years on the tax committee, including 2 years as the ranking Democrat in that committee. So I'm familiar with policy when it comes to issues that may have to be addressed in the coming years. And so I think in that arena, I probably have a lot more policy experience. And I obviously can tell you that the legislature is a very complicated work environment, and it takes a long time to establish relationships and to build trust and respect amongst your peers. And I think I have done that with both moderate Republicans, even some conservative Republicans, and definitely the Democrats, or they wouldn't have selected me as their minority whip when I was first reelected. So I have a lot of good colleagues that are moderate Republicans, and frankly, they're cheering me on right now, and I think that would be very helpful in the coming years.
I would again encourage those in attendance tonight that may have a question to submit that in writing to Mr. Nash. Some great questions so far, and here is the third one tonight. What is your stance on public education, and what are your biggest priorities related to public education? What is your stance on public education, and what are your biggest priorities related to that field?
Well, I work for USD 250, so obviously it's important to me in many ways. I'm a product of public education. My husband is a product of public education. Our kids have gone to public schools here in town, so it's very important to me. I said earlier I worked as a PTO president for 14 years. I believe in the system. I believe it is the great equalizer for people who are in poverty, and it's their way to get out of poverty and make something of their lives. So I actually was elected first the year that we had the special session on education funding, and was part of the coalition of moderate Republicans and Democrats who put the then 3-year plan into place to bring the funding up to where we thought was adequate. We were getting ready to start the 3rd year of funding when the recession hit. It was a global recession, and it was a difficult time to be in the legislature, and most school districts understood that, and they suffered their cuts like everyone else did. But now it's time to put that money back. It's time to restore it, and we can't, unfortunately, because of some reckless tax cuts that took place during the 2 years that I was not in the legislature. So it's my goal to begin the restoration of those dollars to public education. I'll not pretend like it won't be an immediate solution, but it will probably take several years.
Yeah. All right, our next question from the audience. The 2014 Kansas legislature passed a law requiring the governor to get the consent of the legislature before accepting millions of federal dollars to expand Medicaid as part of the Affordable Care Act. Would you vote to accept or deny the federal funding?
I would vote to accept the federal funding. I'm disappointed that that passed, and I think it's very important that we expand Medicaid, especially in southeast Kansas, where we have a great need. I think all the talk about economic development and creating jobs, expanding Medicaid is a job creator. We have a lot of people who would be back to work in certain fields if we would expand Medicaid. In addition, I think it's a moral issue that we have not done that. And I'm quite embarrassed by the fact that we haven't done that. And it's a huge burden on our hospitals, especially in rural Kansas, and on our community health center of southeast Kansas, when we have not expanded those dollars, because some of the funding they get for treating folks who don't have the ability to pay has been cut to pay for the Medicaid expansion. So we're kind of getting a double hit. We're sending our tax dollars in, we're not getting it back through the Medicaid expansion, and I guarantee you that eventually our premiums are going to go up when they have to figure out a way to cover those services that they are funding now that are getting no reimbursement whatsoever at all. So I would absolutely support expanding Medicaid.
Thank you, Ms. McGinney. This will probably go down as one of the shorter candidate forums we've had in recent memory. But we did ask 2 prepared questions. We took 4 questions from the audience, which is typically what we shoot for. So with that, we will conclude this portion of the forum with a 2-minute closing statement.
Thank you, Blake. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate your attention, and I appreciate everyone who showed up tonight or who is tuning in at home. As I said earlier, I think the exchange of ideas, the asking of questions, trying to figure out where people stand on issues is extremely important. We talk about trying to get folks out to vote, and more importantly, we need to be educated voters when we go and vote. And so I thank you for being here tonight. My goal is to go back to Topeka and try to help right this ship that appears to be about to sink. And I think we can do it with the right people. I have good colleagues across the aisle that are willing to work with me. And I think if the elections turn out with a few more moderate Republicans and a few more Democrats, we should be able to get back on track and get back to a moderate Kansas, a Kansas that hopefully doesn't appear on Jon Stewart every other week, and we can be proud of where we are. That's my goal. I want to hear from you. I try to be a good listener. I'm always happy to come out and speak with any group, and hopefully they're not holding up red and yellow signs while I'm doing it, but I would be more than happy to come out and speak with any group or answer your questions, and if you don't wish to ask them in public, give me a call, shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to visit with you. But thank you for coming out tonight, especially since the Royals are on.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ms. McGinney. This will conclude this portion of tonight's forum. We'll take about a 12-minute break. We'll call up the candidates for Crawford County Commission and go over the ground rules with them and begin at 6:30. All right, well, welcome back for those that were watching the earlier portion of our event tonight. We'll now move into what we'll call Phase 2, and this is a candidate forum focusing on the races for Crawford County Commission, Districts 1 and 3. And these races, along with the race you just heard about, will be decided exactly 2 weeks from today. Will be Election Day, November 4th. And appreciate everybody that came out tonight to hear it in person, and those watching on the city's public access channel. And of course, thank you to the candidates for joining us this evening. Those candidates are, the candidates for District 1 are Larry Brunetti and Jeff Murphy. And the candidates for Crawford County Commission District 3 are Carl Wood and James Pope. So, gentlemen, again, thank you very much for joining us. Again, my name is Blake Benson. I'll be the moderator tonight. Andrew Nash will serve as our question proctor or filter to make sure that any questions that are asked are fair and applicable to all candidates involved, and that there aren't any cheap shots or anything like that, because we want everything to be fair and on the level. Before we get to 2 minutes of opening statements with each of you gentlemen, we'll briefly go over the format, very similar to the forum we just conducted. Each of you will be provided a 2-minute opening statement. We are timing that just to kind of help you keep track of where you are. When I hold up the yellow card, that means you've got 30 seconds left. It's not meant to trip you up or mean you have to stop immediately, but it does mean you have 30 seconds left. And of course, the red card means stop, you've gone over your time. So just a little bit of aid for you there. 2-minute opening statement. We'll then go into 2 or 3 prepared questions that have been prepared ahead of time, and then we will then move into questions from the audience. As of right now, we only have 1 question from the audience that has passed the test of being fair and applicable to all candidates involved. So if there are those in attendance tonight that would like to ask a question, we would ask that you write that question. We've got pads and pens back by the refreshments at the back of the room. Submit that to Mr. Nash, and if it is fair, we will ask it here this evening. We drew numbers at the beginning of tonight's event to determine the order that you gentlemen would speak. We want to make sure that one person doesn't have to answer the first question or answer the question first each time, so we'll rotate that as we go along. Before we get started, are there any questions regarding the format of tonight's event? Okay. Well, when we drew numbers, Mr. Bernetti, you were first, so your opening statement, 2 minutes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Larry Bernetti. I'm a candidate for District 1 County Commissioner. I'm 54 years old. I was born and raised in Frontenac, Kansas. I lived there for 38 years. Then I moved to Pittsburg for 2 years. And the last 18 years I've lived in rural Crawford County, which is a Pittsburg address, but it's over towards Cherokee on 7 Highway. I worked for the Road and Bridge Department in Crawford County for 16 years, doing all kinds of things, road repair, running equipment, dump trucks, laying asphalt, picking up dead animals, whatever it took. 2 years ago, I decided there was a lot of headaches on the road and bridge and stuff. I took a transfer into the Judicial Center in Pittsburg. I am a light maintenance man and a janitor there. You know, I love my job. I like working for the county. I love this area. You know, and that's why I want to be a county commissioner. I'm a 1978 graduate of Frontenac High School. I'm a 1982 graduate of Pittsburg State University with a BS in Business Administration and Recreation Administration. You know, like I said, I've lived here all my life. I love the community. I know here lately we've had some things, and I'm going to hit on that just briefly. If you read the paper today, you've seen where this Loomis guy said that we have a crapola part of the state, which I don't agree with him. But his last part says it's poor, depressed, and getting worse. Well, he's not the first one to say that. Dr. Steve Scott from the university said the new president also noted that the region of southeast Kansas faces further economic problems. Scott would like to see the university take a more active role in improving the economic condition of the region. And in 2013 of February, State Representative Addie Lusker was quoted as, "Our area is one of the poorest in the state. Whatever help we can get to bring people out of poverty." And that's what I want to do. I want to help with that. Thank you.
Mr. Bernetti. All right. Second up tonight for opening statements is Mr. Pope.
Good evening. I'm James Pope. I've lived here in Crawford County since 1970. I moved here from Houston. I was going to school down in Houston. I came here and was employed in Frontenac at a dental laboratory. I currently own a dental laboratory. I worked there for 7 years, went to Parsons for another 7 years, had a lab over there. In 1985, I started the lab that I've currently own, and we've been fairly successful in Crawford County. I like Larry, I've really enjoyed living in Crawford County in southeast Kansas. It's a great place to live, great people. I'm married. We've been married almost 33 years. We've got 2 children. Both of them had to move out of the area to secure good jobs, and I'd like to get them back here with some good jobs in here, and that's one of the things that I would like to see. the best thing that I can see that we need to do here in Crawford County is bring some industry in. I don't mean the 500 industry. I would like to see 10, 50 employees. I've been on the fire board for Crawford County Fire District Number 1 for 15 years. I'm the head of the Reserve Department for Crawford County Sheriff's Department. I've been there for 20 years, so I've spent quite a bit of time working with the county, and all of these are non-paid positions. We've spent a lot of hours working with the county, doing a lot of things with the Reserve Department. We use our reserves in Crawford County. We're the unpaid deputies that are out there doing the jobs that no one else wants to do. There are a lot of things in Crawford County that are great. There's a lot of great employees here in Crawford County. I think that we could maybe shift some of those employees around to better positions, make them more efficient, and make some of the choices that were made in the commission a little bit more efficient.
You. There tonight, Carl Wood.
Good evening, citizens of Crawford County. I'd like first thanks Blake Benson from the Chamber for hosting this, and also Andrew Nash for hosting this. I would like also to thank the people that's in attendance. I'd like to thank the people that's watching this. My name is Carl R. Wood. I'm a candidate for Crawford County Commission, the 3rd District. I'm a lifelong Crawford County resident. My parents was Carl R. and Evelyn Wood. I graduated from College High School, which don't exist anymore, in 1964. I got 2 associate degrees from PSU. I'm a husband, I'm a father. I'm a father-in-law of 5, grandfather of 7. I got 1 at K-State, 1 at KU, 1 at PSU, got 2 in high school and 2 in junior high school. I work for P&M Coal Company, Empire District Electric. I'm a businessman and a cattleman. The business part, my wife and I, we had a maintenance and cleaning with GSA, which is General Service Administrating the government, for 28 years. My boy and I, we run a cow calf operation southwest of Pittsburg. I'm a long member of the Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church my whole life. Board member of Baker Township for 19 years. Member of the Crawford County Zoning Board for several years. Helped restore Brutus to be a museum. I'm a UMWA member and an IEB member. My wife and I volunteer with Angels Among Us. We support 4-H of Crawford County, and I'm serving my first 4 years as Crawford County Commissioner in District 3.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Mr. Murphy, 2-minute opening statement.
Okay, I'd also like to thank the Chamber and thank you everyone who's attending and for being interested in our government and for making things better in Crawford County. My background, I'm a graduate of Girard High School, 2001. I then attended Kansas State University. I have a bachelor's in biological and agricultural engineering. Then worked for 7 years at an engineering firm in Uniontown called Agricultural Engineering. I have experience with a lot of agricultural type projects as well as rural development projects such as roads, bridges, water district projects. I am a licensed professional engineer in the state of Kansas. Currently, I farm with my father, Steve Murphy, southwest of Girard. A few things about myself and just my principles and the way I like to do things. I like to be honest with everything that I do. I like to work hard. I like to be fair, and that's one of the things I really want to stress if I am elected, is just being fair and equal with anyone in the county, no matter what their party is or where they reside or who they are. Also like to work towards efficiency and growth in the county. And the way I'd like to achieve that is by improving our planning, looking for infrastructure projects, just planning long-term, several years into the future, which helps with budgeting, giving the opportunity for the public to comment and be involved. And it shows future businesses that may want to move here that we're progressive and we want better things for our county. I'd also like to work towards economic growth and efficiency with everything we do to minimize tax burden and also improve our management. So in conclusion, thank you for having me, and I hope I can be your next county commissioner to District 1.
Thanks to you all for your opening statements. We'll now go into a series of prepared questions, and Mr. Pope, you will answer this question first, and then Mr. Wood, Mr. Murphy, and Mr. Brunetti will go last. The question is this, and I will point out that none of the candidates have been privy to the prepared questions that are being asked tonight. Most would argue that robust economic development is crucial to the continued growth of Crawford County. In your opinion, what is the role of the Crawford County Commission in terms of economic development, and what ideas do you have to further the county's economy? What do you feel is the role of the Crawford County Commission in terms of economic development, and what ideas do you have to further the county's economy? Mr. Pope, you have 90 seconds.
Well, as county commissioner, we're the first line that somebody's going to come into an area. We're the ones that we're going to bring up what the positives are in our area, what we can give to this company, what we can do for this company to come into our area. One of the ways that we could do it, we could get an economic development director for Crawford County and bring some in. Maybe work in conjunction with the city of Pittsburg with an economic development director to bring in some new businesses. You know, as I said before, I'd like to see 10 businesses rather than 1 of 500. Go out and diversify. You know, there's times that the county goes and buys a piece of equipment, or we buy something through the county, and you always have to go out of the county or out of the city to buy that. Why not invite those people to the county to look at the county? Why can't we have those industries to come here, build it here, and other counties can buy it from us? It's a matter that the commission needs to go out and be more active with the economic development and going after and seeking some of these businesses, work with our state representatives a little bit better. It seems like that we are staying status quo more than anything else.
Mr. Wood, 90 seconds.
First of all, I've been on with 2 different companies that wanted to come relocate or locate in Crawford County, and the first thing they ask you, what's your workforce? Well, we do not have a workforce, but we will have a workforce. We've got Crawford County Tech Center on board that is doing great. So in a year or 2 down the road, we'll have these people that want a workforce. We'll have electricians, heat and air, welders, or what have you on board, so when these companies come, we'll have it. The second thing they ask about churches and schools. We're doing good there, but our main goal is we do not have people to fill these jobs when people come here, or asked to come here. So the first thing we got to do is teach our people a trade. We've got the land, you know, we got 50 years of water where a lot of these other cities around here doesn't have. And when I'm talking about the county, I'm talking about all the communities in the county. And like I say, we worked with the city of Pittsburg, we've worked with other communities on forming companies that want to come here, but we got to offer them something. They're not going to come here and spend $10 million if you don't have the people to work here. So my bottom line is, we need this tech center, we need to train these people to do these jobs, whatever it is. Thank you.
Mr. Murphy, 90 seconds.
As far as economic development in the county, obviously very important. The county needs new business coming in to replace any businesses that they're leaving. You constantly need to be doing that because, you know, the life cycle of a business is not infinite. It's not forever. So we need more. A commissioner should be very open and available, supportive to any new business that would like to move into the county. No matter, you know, what the background of that business is, we need to be available to meet with them and be supportive. We need to make sure we minimize our tax burden so that those businesses are looking at Crawford County as a place they want to be and not be overburdened with taxes. We need to minimize regulations so that it's easy for a new business to come in and start up. It's easy for a person who has an idea to create a new business, and they can move that through the system. And like I've mentioned before, I think we need to improve in the area of planning so that we have a plan for the future of this county and that potential new businesses can see that and be drawn to our vision and want to join in with us. Thank you.
And Mr. Brunetti, 90 seconds.
Yeah, I believe the county drives the economy around here. You know, we need to pay a little bit more at the county to the lower people on our scale. We have 410 full-time and part-time employees in the county. And we have some of them that work full-time that still get free and reduced lunches at Pittsburg High School, you know, or any of the schools around here. 60% of USD 250 students are on free and reduced lunches. You know, we drive economic development. And yes, we need this workforce development, and I've talked to Mr. Tershner about it that ran for county commissioner and lost, and he's in that. I told him if I got in there, I'd love for him to come talk to the commission and even take over that project, you know. But Pitt State and the county do not pay the workers at the bottom enough money. And this thing about training guys to go weld and stuff is a great idea. But if you're going to get a job around here for welding in Pittsburg, Kansas for $12.50 an hour, most of the people are not going to stay in this area. They're going to go to Kansas City or Tulsa and make $25 an hour working for a union. You know, in 1978, when I graduated from high school, I worked for Consumers Grocery Store in Pittsburgh and made $13.50 an hour. This is 2014. I work for the county. I make $14.73 an hour. A car back then I bought cost me $3,200. Last year I bought a vehicle, it was $22,000. This is what's wrong with Crawford County, and we have to start at the county commission and at Pittsburg State and try to get the bottom wages up.
Okay. Our second prepared question this evening will be answered first by Mr. Wood, and then Mr. Murphy, Mr. Brunetti, and Mr. Pope. What do you foresee as the most pressing issue facing Crawford County, and how do you propose to address it? What do you see as the most pressing issue facing Crawford County, and how would you address this issue? Mr. Wood, 90 seconds.
What I feel is, and I'm going back into the tech center, we need to educate these people to learn a trade, pick up a trade, do a trade. Then there will be companies that will come here and establish themselves in Crawford County. Then there's more heads here. These people, you know, people that work in this county or any other county, they spend 60% of their wages in that county. So the counties would get more tax revenue. And I just keep on thriving that we need more people here with a skill, and we do not have them. So why should people come to Crawford County? Any meeting that you go to, they keep saying, oh, what your workforce is. Well, we got a place now that we're going to have a workforce for these kids. We're educating junior, seniors in high school. Most high schools are starting these kids out as freshmen. Hey, what do you want to do in life? You want to be a doctor? You want to be a brain surgeon? Do you want to be a carpenter or what? So these people are learning in high school at an early age what they would like to do. And like I said, it all reflects back. We've got the tech center in Crawford County, and that's one of our big engines, and Crawford County is going to grow from that. Thank you.
Mr. Murphy, 90 seconds.
The most pressing issue, you know, I'm getting the sense with running for this office, and I've learned a lot of things that maybe I didn't know before, but maybe the most pressing issue is just coming to a different mindset of just collaboration across the county. No matter who you are, you know, no matter what political party you are or where you're at in the county, just a collaboration to have a vision for a future that is positive, that has growth, that is something that we all can be excited about and happy about and positive in the county. So I think it's collaboration, and that's something that I would really like to bring to the commission if I am elected. I really want to be open to anyone and just bring different groups together to move forward in the county.
Mr. Brunetti.
Well, I believe the major issue facing the county is they have no plan. They have no 5-year plan, they have no 10-year plan, they have no plan at all, not even for tomorrow. You look in the paper, Pittsburgh has a plan for $58 million. Of course, they're not going to get it all done, but at least they have a plan. The county has no plan. You know, we're going to have gambling coming. 69 highways going to be built. This is going to bring a lot of money and economic development into the county. Whether we want it or not, it's coming. Both of them are coming. I think we need to embrace this. We need to hire a county manager. we need to get on top of this, because when this hits, you know, it's going to be up to these commissioners to decide how this goes in Crawford County. You know, I want to embrace it. I don't want to stumble out of the gates. I want to be ready for this when it comes. 69's coming, gambling's coming, and we need to be in the forefront. And if we, you know, as county commissioners, I don't believe you're going to have, I don't believe they have the time to do that. I believe you need a full-time, dedicated person to do that. And I believe a county manager is the way to go.
Okay. Mr. Pope.
Well, as I agree with some of the others that have spoke, we need someone to bring employment into Crawford County. That's one of the big things we have. We have great employees in the county right now. Maybe they need to be positioned just a little bit differently. I've enjoyed talking with the people as I've gone out here in public and discuss things with people, because I've learned more by listening than by talking. Most people have to agree with Mr. Bernetti. We don't seem to have a plan of what we're going to do in the future. Do we have a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan? When I started with the fire department, was on a board down there, we had a 5-year and a 10-year plan, and we've come up with a great fire department down there by having that plan. We stayed within budget to do that. We can do that in the county. You know, as far as a workforce with the tech center that they're proposing for high school, we've got a great asset that we're maybe not utilizing the way we should with the tech center out at the college. Because the placement of the tech center out at the college, the kids that get jobs someplace else, you've got the wood technology, auto technology, and plastic technology out there. All those jobs could be brought right here to Crawford County. Just a matter of working with the county. Recently we had a couple of businesses that tried to come to Crawford County and weren't successful in coming to Crawford County because of the stumbling blocks we were put in front of them, and subsequently went to an adjacent county.
Okay. We will now transition into questions from the audience. We've got some good ones that have been submitted and screened by Mr. Nash. This first question will be answered by Mr. Murphy. With new housing additions being built in the outer areas of the towns in Crawford County, what procedures or policies do you support to provide equitable road care for all county citizens? With new housing additions being built in the outer areas of Crawford County, what procedures or policies would you support to provide equitable road care for all citizens of Crawford County? Mr. Murphy, 90 seconds.
Well, and the current commissioners understand this probably a lot better than I do, but the way that the roads are managed in the county, basically there's a road manager for each district that's in charge of maintaining the roads in that district. And the funds, I believe, are divided evenly between the districts. And I personally don't really like that system. I'd like to look into that and just understand why it's done that way, and just look at things as the county as a whole, and how do we need to maintain our infrastructure as a whole, rather than dividing things into 3 political districts. I'm sure in certain years you may have to put more funds into one district than the other, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to do things that way. And I'd like to look into maybe just a comprehensive plan for the whole county that we can publish and become public comment, so that all the citizens can be involved and understand what the plan is, where we're headed, and how we're going to improve in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Brunetti, 90 seconds.
Yeah, I believe that the county, you know, I'm like Mr. Murphy, is ran in 3 different districts. You have a foreman in each district, and I don't believe that's the way to do it. I believe we need to hire a county engineer, and I'll tell you why. For a couple reasons. You know, you look in the recent papers, you see Westfield Acre residents seek road repairs. Why do they seek road repairs? Because nobody knows if their road was brought up to specs in the first place. The Michael Ray addition out here, we had to go there and asphalt that place. It wasn't brought up to specs. I was on that project. They taxed each house in that area a certain amount of money to pay for the roads, because they couldn't find the paperwork to see if it was brought to specs back 20, 30 years ago. Then you look at another thing in the paper, commissioners plan fence viewing. Why are we going and look at people's fences? You know, you have an engineer, we have a surveyor already on staff. You go out there and you survey the place, and you tell the guy where to put the fence, you have no problem. But the county doesn't do it that way. They've never done it that way. I've worked on the road and bridge for 16 years. And a lot of times, matter of fact, in Arma, or not in Arma, in Franklin, there is a road that a county commissioner years ago sold to an individual, and the individual still owns the road and has a deed to it. This is some things that we need to rectify. And without an engineer and without going between the commissioners, all three of us getting together, it's never going to happen. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Pope.
Well, that's one of the questions or the comments that I receive from just about everybody that I talk to out in the public. What can you do for my road? You know, and it seems like they always make the comment that during election time, every road gets paved or every road gets chipped and sealed. Well, that really isn't it. You have only so many dollars to work with it. Would there be a special tax assessment for a new housing addition? There probably would be, to be able to fund the miles of road that would need to be put in there. And that could be possibly put into the planning of the addition with the developer, that they should be able to put those roads in themselves, and then the county maintain them. But there again, we need a county engineer or a county manager to manage that portion of it, because with the three districts, it seems like it's very inconsistent with the way things are done. If I would be elected as the 3rd District County Commissioner, I would work for the whole county. I had a number of people that have asked me, what can you do for my road, and they're not in my district. Well, I don't know what I could do with it, but I'd certainly take a look at it if I became commissioner, because I would really like to see we work as a unit, not as a single district, because it just seems like that the district situation doesn't work as well as it would if we were just one cohesive unit.
Okay. Mr. Wood.
Well, I'd like to answer a few of these questions. First of all, when there's a new housing addition go in, we got to know the zoning and regulations that the road's got to be up to standard for the county to take over. And to answer some of these other questions, first of all, one addition that was mentioned, he didn't want the county to take the road over. He was going to do it himself. Well, after all the houses got developed, knowing that the developer was not going to take care of the road, they come to the county, wanted the county to take the road, bring it up to standard, and then the county takes it over to improve their homes. When this particular place was, there's like 4 or 5 houses out there for sale. You couldn't even get a four-wheel drive pickup through there. But no, the county took it over, put an assessment on these people, and now look at the roads. There's not a single house out there for sale right now, because I drove it 2 weeks ago. Number 2, I don't believe in one person running the county. Just like, say, you can have people out here saying, hey, what are you going to do for me on this election? You going to chip and seal my road? Well, the answer to me is no. We will take, in this District 3, there's more people in District 3 coming in here than there is out west. So why should we spend the same amount out west as there is here in east, where all the population and a hell of a lot of the revenue is? So what I'm saying is, they take care of their roads, each one of them do it themselves. We divide the money up, and by the way, we put $600,000 in the budget for 2015 for road improvement. That before, everybody went through a tough time.
All right, our second question from the audience here this evening. You've heard some reference tonight to the Southeast Kansas Technical Education Center of Crawford County, and the question reads, if you are elected, will you support the continued yearly funding of the Southeast Kansas Technical Education Center of Crawford County? Will you support the continued yearly funding of the Southeast Kansas Technical Education Center of Crawford County? First to answer, Mr. Brunetti.
Absolutely. You know, we need jobs around here. Like I said, even if they're $12 or $13 an hour jobs, we need them. So I absolutely will support that. You know, I'd like to see them pay more money. I would like to see, you know, some other things down there, like you say, welding, different types of automotive stuff, you know, that people could get jobs in, but absolutely I'd support it.
Okay. Mr. Pope.
I absolutely would support it, because I'm a product of a technical school. I graduated from a technical school. That's how I started my livelihood. So yes, I'd support it. I think that if we get the technical school to be viable, there are a lot of students out there that don't want to go to a 4-year college. They need some sort of technical degree after high school. The Technology Center is great for a 4-year degree, but the tech center that they're trying to get started, if we can get it off the ground and get it rolling, I would love to support that because I think that it would be a very good thing for a lot of students that don't want to go to a traditional 4-year college.
Mr. Wood?
Well, I was one of the founders of it. We took 2.5 years to put this together, and I'll just give you a brief on it. We had 5 school districts: St. Mary's Cogan, PSU, Fort Scott Community College, City of Pittsburg, and yourself was involved with it. We got businessmen from each one of the districts. We got business people that are telling us what they need to train these people with. So why wouldn't we need a tech center? Yes, we divided it up. We're $125,000 a year for 3 years, and the mill levy went down for 2015. So why not have it? PSU is thinking about having 2 classes out there. We got all the educators with us. Everybody tells us we need a tech center. We've got a tech center, and it's going to continue going, and you're going to see the economy in Crawford County go up. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Murphy?
I agree, I guess, with everyone else. I think the tech center is a good development, and I think that is very important. You have to have trained workers to draw businesses to the county, so I agree with that. And I guess I am supportive of, seed money for things like that are positive for the county. I think we need to be careful with how far we take that or how much that burdens the county's budget in the future, and we would need a long-term outlook on that as to how long are we funding this and when does it become self-supporting. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Our third question from the audience tonight will be answered first by Mr. Pope. Would you support the hiring of a county manager? And if so, where would you find the money to hire that position? Would you support the hiring of a county manager? And if so, where would you find the funds to hire that position? 90 seconds.
I would support a county manager. We would have to look through the budget and see where we could come up with the money and how much it was going to cost us to get a decent county manager. I haven't investigated how much it would cost to have a county manager. There are areas of the budget. We have an individual that takes care of the county projects right now. As I understand, he's getting ready in the next couple of years to retire. There would be some money there. The overall budget, I think that we could find the money to bring that in because I think it would be such a great asset for the county to have a county manager.
Okay. Mr. Wood?
Well, I'm against that for the simple reason is we have elected officials, so they have their budget that they have to go by, and then the rest of them, you're talking about projects, you're talking about EMS, you're talking about the road and bridge, which we take care of. These people here, when you're elected for this district, you represent the people, and the people is the ones that put you in office, but you're the one that's taking care of their money. In other words, what everybody thinks as a manager, what he's going to do is say, well, we got X number of dollars here. Well, then you don't have no control of that. But when these people come in there, you can tell them no. And this is the problem has been over the years. People come in there, no one wants to tell them no. But now it has changed and it's different. So you've got a control of what the unelected officials spend. You can tell them no anytime. And if they don't like it, go find a job someplace else. But the manager, he can kind of dance around with it, and and then first thing you know, we're in a fix, and I'm not going to be in this situation. I don't believe, because when you're when you're elected as a Crawford County Commissioner, that's your job. That is a full-time job. And if you want to be a full-time county commissioner, don't run for the job.
Mr. Murphy?
I think, I think a county manager would be a really positive thing for the county, someone that can oversee all departments and really have that as their full-time commitment, hopefully improve some things with the county employees as far as how they're handled, some things like job descriptions and just management of those employees needs to be improved in the county. I think a manager would go a long ways to do that. I think if we do hire a county manager, we need to emphasize that that manager finds efficiencies in the county, and that those efficiencies hopefully will pay at least part of their salary, so that we're not, really overburdening the budget with lots of management expense, but hopefully we can find efficiencies through doing that. So yes, I would be supportive of that.
Mr. Bernetti?
Yes, 4 years ago, I ran for county commissioner, and I advocated for a county manager, and I would get the money out of the road and bridge department. They put $695,000 into the road and bridge department this year because they had a surplus of about 1.4 to 1.5 million. Actually, it was probably closer to 1.8 million. And that was because they paid bonds off that they had going since 2000. Bonds are not the way to go. The city of Pittsburgh has found out. They pass a sales tax to their roads. That's the way the county needs to do it. We're never going to get caught up. I've worked for the road and bridge for 16 years. Currently, right now, I've talked to the foremans in each district. I've talked to the asphalt director for the county. We're about $10 to $12 million behind in road repairs right now. And $695,000 isn't going to get it. It's not going to catch us up. So we hire a county manager. In a few years, we've got gambling coming, we've got the highway coming. Then we look at possibly a sales tax for the county when the city of Pittsburgh sales tax comes off. That's the only way you're going to get your roads up to snuff. Otherwise, we're going to stay right where we are for the next 20 or 30 years. And if everybody's fine with that, that's okay. But I want to improve the county. And I believe the way to do it is a county manager. Of course, he's going to have a staff, but I've seen it in the city of Frontenac. I hired the city administrator for the city of Frontenac. That town has grown. Pittsburgh has one. Girard has one. Arma has one. And all four of those towns are doing quite well in Crawford County. I believe if Crawford County gets a county manager, we'll go in the same direction those towns have gone. And that's what I want to see for the county.
Thank you. Andrew has informed me that I got off the order at some point. That was not intentional. Please accept my apologies. There's a lot going on here, and I obviously lost my place, so I apologize for that. But I believe we are, will Mr. Pope answer the next question? You are allowed to answer that last question.
I'll answer
okay,
the
so
last
Mr.
one first.
Wood would answer the next question first. Again, my apologies. Next question, and this will be our final question submitted from tonight's audience. How would you prioritize the pursuit of large corporations and small independent businesses to Crawford County? How would you prioritize the pursuit of large corporations and small independent businesses to Crawford County? Mr. Wood.
Well, first of all, I would take care of the businesses that we already have. I'm not saying they're mom and pop. We got several of them here, but we need to take care of the ones we got and then extend out to other ones that would like to come here. And again, we need the workforce to have these people come, and we're working on it. The county is, the cities are, and everything else. So what I'm saying is, if the smaller ones needs help, I say help them. But right now, they're growing good. Everything in the county is healthy. I mean, I don't care what anyone else says, the county is healthy without a manager. So let's get that straight. Then the corporations, if they want to come in, I'm like James here, I don't want to see a 500 one come in. I'd like to see 50, 60, 70, because then if they quit and leave, but one thing you got to remember, we cannot give them the bank, we cannot cut their taxes, we can't give them bonds and everything else. We need, hey, come in here, they got to stand on their own 2 feet, because we've seen this happen before in Crawford County. And I'm not going to be part of that. I will not agree to that. So with that being said, I'd like to see the ones that, if they do need help, help them, or any way at all, and then the other ones want to come in, that's fine too.
Okay. Mr. Murphy.
Prioritize the pursuit of businesses. I don't really see the commission's role as pursuing businesses, but I think we need to be open and available and ready to open our doors wide for any business that may come into the county. As far as, large-sized businesses versus smaller, I think we need all. I think we need all of the above, any would be great, large corporation or small businesses. And you know, most large corporations were a small business at one point. So obviously we need to be open to business development by minimizing tax burden and having a plan for the county. Thank you.
Mr. Brunetti?
Well, I hate to disagree with my Democratic opponent over there, but I believe tax abatements and grants are something that should be looked at, you know, and I believe a county manager should look at that. You know, if a big corporation is going to come in here, you had B.F. Goodrich down there in Miami, Oklahoma, they pay $25 or $30 an hour. I might look at giving them a tax abatement. You know, we can give people $25 or $30 an hour jobs, 1,200 jobs, I'd look at it. And I think a county manager should look at it if we have one. You know, as far as small businesses or large businesses, the city of Pittsburg has done that. You know, you try to bring economic development in. You try to help those businesses any way you can. You know, yeah, we can't give everything away free. I'm not saying that. But if you get a county manager, you can look at grants, you can look at other types of things that may not cost you. You know, I'm for any kind of economic development we can get in Crawford County, any type. Small business, large business, mom and pop shop, a guy selling ice cream out on the street. You know, anything we can bigger into Crawford County to benefit it, I'm all for it.
Okay. Mr. Pope?
Well, we should be open for any new business that would like to come into Crawford County. Make it comfortable for them to come in. We can't give away the farm. But there are businesses out there that have the funds that they want to come in to an area, start a business, and we should work with them in any way that we can. We've got a number of industrial parks throughout the county that have plenty of ground that we could use. There's more development that could be used, and with the road coming through, I'm sure there's going to be some development with that. There's things that we could do. We should go after not only the small business, but the large business. But the small business in this area is probably going to be easier for us to attract. With the technology center out at the college, when it was started, it was, as I understand, it was supposed to be an incubator for small business, and that didn't seem to happen. And maybe we can reestablish that and get that something working with them to get them to help us do that, because that was what it was supposed to do when it was started. With the tech center that we've got started here, that's fantastic, because we're going to have a better and a more educated workforce for the trades. You know, I advocate for a trade school greatly, because I am like I say, a trade school graduate. I think I've come up with a great living. I'm one of the fortunate ones that I've never really had a job. I've had a great hobby that I make a terrific living at, right here in Crawford County.
Thank you all. That will conclude our portion of tonight's forum pertaining to questions from the audience, and thank you to those audience members that submitted those questions. We will now transition into the final part, which is the closing statements. Each of you will be allowed 2 minutes for your closing statements, and we will begin with you, Mr. Murphy. 2 minutes.
Okay. Again, thank you for having this tonight. It's been a nice place to have it, and it's good to see people interested. I guess I've given you my background and things I want to achieve. Again, I just want to emphasize, you know, my goal in doing this is really to be in service to the county, and I want to see good things for our county. I want to be open and available to anyone to work with them, no matter who they are. I'd like to see economic development in our county, and do anything I can to work to make that happen. I'd also like to see a plan, long-term planning in our county for infrastructure as well as business development, so that we can have a plan that all the citizens can see and be a part of and give their comments to, as well as give us a vision for the future, so that potential new businesses or potential organizations that want to be involved with us know that we're looking into the future. I also want to be efficient with the taxpayer dollars, keep our tax burden low, and just find ways to look for efficiency at the county level, so that we're providing what we need, but not maybe extra things that we don't. In conclusion, thank you very much, and I hope you all have a good night.
Ms. Murphy? Mr. Brunetti?
I'd like to thank Mr. Nash and Mr. Blake Benson for sponsoring this thing. I'd also like to thank the other candidates for coming and for their interest in running for Crawford County Commissioner. I think it's an important position. I'd like to thank the audience out there for coming tonight. I think all of us up here are running because we want the county to do better. Whether you vote for Mr. Murphy, or you vote for me, or you vote for Mr. Pope, or you vote for Mr. Woods over there. I think we all have the best interest of the county in mind. We may go about it different ways, but we all have the best interest of the county. And it just, when you go to the ballot box, you have to decide which way you want to vote. Do you want to vote for somebody, you know, that's worked for the county for 18 years, has worked with 6 different departments, in 2 different departments? Or do you want a guy that has an engineering degree that may know a little bit about the road and bridge? He's worked on some roads. Of course, I've worked on them for 16 years in the county. You know, so I know a lot about the county. I know how it works. I've lived here my entire life. You know, I think we all want what's better. You know, I don't think any of us, we wouldn't be up here and we wouldn't put our time in, you know. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for coming. Like I said, go to the polls on November 4th. You know, I'd like to again thank Julie McGinney and Mr. Lusker and several of the other people in Pittsburgh. They worked tirelessly to get 69 Highway down here to get gambling, and it's going to come, and it's going to be an economic boost to Crawford County. And I'm like Carl, I think we're at the precipice of where we could go. I mean, we can go explode from here, and that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see this county grow from 40,000 people to 50 or 60,000 people and lessen everybody's tax burden. That's what we're shooting for. You know, we hope it happens. You know, if it doesn't happen and gambling fizzles out in 2 years, at least we're going to get the revenue for 2 or 3 years. And that's going to be an economic boost to this community that we haven't seen in a long time. Thank you all.
Mr. Brunetti. Mr. Pope.
Well, again, I'd like to thank you for having us and thank the other candidates for coming. I appreciate the forum that we can do it, and appreciate Pittsburgh allowing us to have it in this facility. It's a great facility. You know, I'd like to be able to work with all of the citizens from Crawford County, not just the 3rd District. You know, we've got a great county here. We need to have a better plan of what we want to do, a long-term plan of what we want to do in the county, so we can be much more efficient with our tax dollars, be more efficient with, and maybe a little bit more efficient with the employees and how the employees are used. We can have a little bit better management on what goes on in the county. We have great people here to, for as far as the workforce, we have the people here that want to work. There's no one in Crawford County that doesn't want to work if they are given a decent job in Crawford County. We need to work with large and small businesses throughout the United States to bring them here to Crawford County. Why can't we? We can show them how great of a area it is to live. It's much like what somebody said earlier about the one that made the comment about southeast Kansas and Crawford County. I disagree. I moved here in 1970, and I've loved every minute of it, and I wouldn't move it from Crawford County. This is my home. So,
Thank you, Mr. Pope. Mr. Wood.
Well, again, Nash, Andrew, thank you. Blake, thank you, and thanks to the city of Pittsburgh. And I'm just a tad disturbed. There was a comment made earlier that there was a couple of companies that wanted to come to Crawford County. And if you want to see me after the meeting, I'll tell you why they didn't come to Crawford County. They went to another county. But I will tell people that if they want to know it. But again, thank you. I'm asking for your vote for 3rd District, Crawford County, to elect me another 4 years. I have the experience, the maintenance of roads, and machinery and equipment on our buildings. I know how to run a business, work with other people, and work within a budget. And that is very, very true. If anyone wants to see the figures on the budget or what the general fund has, just go to the courthouse and you'll find out. I know how to work hard and make a tough decision. If elected, I will serve the people of the 3rd District of Crawford County and also the District 1 and 2. I will be a full-time, 24/7 commissioners, and believe me, they'll call you. My latest one has been at 1:30, and my earliest one has been at 5:30 in the morning. I will be available. See, I want to a future for our generation so they can stay and work in Crawford County and raise their family. Remember my saying, if you have a problem, I have a problem. Also, my grandma was said, take care of your pennies and the dollars will take care of themselves. I would appreciate your support on November the 4th and looking forward to serve you and all the citizens of Crawford County. Again, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me thank our candidates here tonight. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Thank you again to Andrew Nash. Thanks to all those that came out tonight, and we would encourage you to go out and vote on November 4th. Have a great evening.